All right. Hi, everybody. This is Joanne Eisen with Reach the Unlimited. I am so happy to be with you again today. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in the chat below. I have a very special guest. She was with me a couple weeks ago, if you'll remember, Adrienne Cobb. And we're going to have a little chat about what's happening and things we can do, encourage you, but we also are going to do a meditation. So, Adrienne, thank you so much for joining me today on this live show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah. I've been doing a YouTube live as well every day while we've been in quarantine. So I was super happy to join forces with you today.
I'm very excited about it. We had talked about doing this, and I'm really happy that we're fitting it in. You actually tell people a little, because I know you were just on, but not everybody heard it. So could you tell people a little bit about you and where to find you? And also on your Facebook page for the last, I think it's been 4 days? You've been doing meditation live.
Yeah, we're on day 10 today.
Day 10. Okay, I couldn't remember. I'm sorry. How many that was?
Yeah, it all blurs after a while.
Oh. Yeah. Tell everybody a little about yourself before we get going.
Sure. So I am Adrienne Cobb. I'm the founder of mywildmagic.com. You can visit my website there, mywildmagic.com. And I offer memberships with people on a monthly basis that brings in, on a Wednesday night. What we do is we bring in hierarchy and different beings of light, angels, and really training ourselves with them on how to use our abilities to manifest, but also to come together in a spiritual community, which is super nice. And we do this. I have a quantum prayer field that I hold for myself that I open up to share with others in that membership. I also do personal sessions, and Jackie and I will actually be hosting we're going to start doing seasonal quests. What is that word? It happens on the equinox. It happens on.
Oh, you're.
What's that word?
Come on, Jackie.
Solstice quest.
Thank you. Well, we know our astrology, don't we? We're good on that one.
Yeah. So solstice quest, personal sessions, memberships, lots of resources there. Just create a really strong spiritual community of like-minded individuals moving forward with ease and grace.
Hi, Susan and Sharon. Thank you for being here. Sharon, tomorrow we're going to do readings. Okay. Yes, if you guys really want to check out Adrienne's work, because her work is really fantastic and it's very healing, which is one of the reasons that we're talking today, because we want to try to help people to bring more peace and calm. We know that things are getting very, hi, Sharon, I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, I'm going to stay concentrated on you. So we wanted to bring kind of peace and calm, because things are, it's like when you do something new and you're excited about it and then it gets old. That's kind of what's happening here, is that, we were all okay with being under quarantine, but now people are starting to get antsy and kind of scared about it and that kind of thing. What can you help us with in that kind of way of thinking?
So first off, let's just kind of take a deep breath. Let's just breathe in and relax. We had a little bit of tech issues sort of getting up and running here today. So let's just breathe in and balance out that, knowing all is well and in perfect timing. And, and the biggest thing is to stay connected to yourself. That what happens is that I find that it's very easy for people who are high empaths and intuitive to get sort of a little overly plugged into the consciousness cloud, like that collective consciousness, but I'm just sort of like an iCloud type thing where all this information is stored. And so, on one level, we're sort of in between this heaven and earth place. So when we stay grounded to the earth, that's really good. That will help. And, I can show you an exercise on how to do that pretty easily. Okay. You want to keep in mind that your 7th chakra is pointing straight up. And not only as a human being are we grounded to the earth by the very nature of being a human being, and we may or may not manage that very well, but bottom line is we are on the earth. But the other thing that we're connected to is through the 7th chakra. We are connected to the collective consciousness, and we're meant to be. That's part of also how we're growing and evolving and kind of weaving our light into the tapestry of this experience with one another. So it's good to know how to manage the collective consciousness, the conscious cloud, so that you don't get overwhelmed I find there's a lot of overwhelm with people right now, some fear.
Yeah. Yes.
And a lot of it is the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that's living in the future when we need to be living in the present. So if we can stay present to we're safe, we're taken care of, everything's okay right now, the birds are singing, the sun is out, then that's going to help us to be able to move through that fear.
Yeah, everything you just listed sounded like a Beatles song. So honestly, I don't know if you saw that movie that came out towards the end of last year called Yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. But this Indian guy, and the whole world literally just zaps, and shuts down. And when it comes back, the Beatles aren't there anymore. There's no Beatles music. And he was a musician. So he goes and he starts recreating the Beatles music, but it's kind of relevant to what's happening today. Our whole system is resetting. And there's certain things we may not, that are just going to be different for us, a new learning curve, really.
It really is. It really is. The song that came to me this morning was Bob Marlin, Everything's Gonna Be Okay.
Yeah.
That's really, the feeling tone that we have to stay in that vibration, because we always come back. We're always resilient. Everything will bounce back, but we have to take care of each other and be wise in what we're doing. Because I was talking to a friend of mine this morning who believes that we should all go back to work. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Marcia. Thank you for being here. We should all go back to work and everything is going to be okay. But that's defeating the purpose if you talk to the doctors who are putting themselves on the line. And I really wanted to express this today because it's the tone of what's happening because of the news and politics and all that other stuff, is that the doctors are putting themselves on the line to treat everybody that they can. They're putting themselves every day on the line. But the problem isn't whether you get it or not. It's the problem of the huge influx that's going to come to the hospitals that are going to need help and need care is why we're quarantining. And I want to help people to remember that part of it. Because if we put a big rush on the hospitals and the equipment that they have, then they have to decide who to take care of and who not to. If there's an accident, if you have a heart attack, if you have some other kind of ailment, then now it's overtaxing our system. So I want to really please tell people to stay calm and to listen to the medical community, because they really have our best interest at heart. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent there, but I wanted to express that.
Good message, yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. So, what are some, I know that we talked about not giving into the fear, not allowing fear to run our daily life. What are some of the other things that we should be aware of when we're going through this isolation?
Well, maybe we just want to start with going into the fear to help unravel it a bit, because we may not want to skip past it. I think that there is, one of the things I feel is happening is that when anything, comes up in life, you really get to see what is in your unconscious. You get to see your character. You get to see things about yourself that aren't challenged otherwise, right? So not only can we self-quarantine and take superfoods and mushrooms and different products to be helpful, and then, be of service to others as we can, but also to really look at what is coming up and to be present with that, because that's the internal piece in terms of our own soul mastery right now, where we get to go into these higher ascension rays. You see what I mean? So I really think there's a major ascension frequencies coming onto the planet. And that is really where we want to put some focus. And so it's like any other day, hey, let's be present with ourselves and see what's coming up, what's challenging us.
Right.
So you've brought up an issue that we might as well start with, about, it sounds as though you're kind of reflecting the fear that, nobody will be there to take care of us. So now doesn't sound like you're all that worried about the virus because of your lifestyle or whatever as so much, but you may be worried if any extra thing happens. And that may be a part of your psyche in general. And even last night, I had the same thought. You're not alone in this. I do think it's kind of a collective thing. It's like, wow, if I really stubbed my toe hard, there wouldn't be anybody to help me now. Or, So I'm like, oh, I better be a little extra careful. So it's interesting how we're watching the fear mutate, like viruses mutate, because it's like, oh, there's this virus going to kill us. And some people might be a little more relaxed. And then it's like,
Right.
oh, we're going to run out of toilet paper. And then that one passes. And then it's like, oh, you know, this, that, and the other, you know, it's like, it's one thing after the stock market crash, you know, so it's like one after the other. And it's a bit overwhelming, I think, for our systems to handle all of it. And so staying centered and grounded, because there's the one true thing you have that's going to navigate through your happiest days and your worst days in all of life is going to be that connection to your own inner presence, and really developing a strong trust with that. There is a question that I would recommend people to ask, and it's just something that the ego relates to. And it's, you just ask yourself this, am I in any immediate physical danger in this moment? Is my life at risk in this moment? It's really like, am I in immediate physical danger in this moment? And your mind has to slow down. It has to process that information. And when it processes it, it interrupts the neuroemotional pathway, and it starts looking around and they're like, well, nobody has a gun to my head in this moment. And I guess the virus isn't in my lungs right this second. And well, this, you know, the sun did come up this morning, and my basic needs seem to be, you know, I mean, it interrupts the stream.
Yes. And that's important.
A good one. It forces the mind to come back into some sense of, you know, a common sense.
I love what Sharon had talked about, that there are people that honk their horns in appreciation for the people that are giving care and medical treatments and all that, and putting hearts in their windows and doing things that will help you to be distracted from the things that can take you down. Like, I know I've talked to a lot of people who are afraid about, you know, how they're going to make ends meet in the next month or 2 months. But again, it's exactly what you said. I love what, you know, coming back to the center and looking at the things that are happening now, and then we'll take care of tomorrow. Because one of the things that I feel like is really important now is to, like a lot of us are doing, building these communities and being a support to each other, and also reaching out and finding out who needs your support or who may need your help. And that's what's going to be important coming down the line.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So, yeah, it is a big deal. And I think if the medical community is something you want to bring in and bless today, we can for sure do that. I mean, they are.
I would absolutely love that, because I know that I've talked to a couple doctors and they know what the importance is here and have shared that with me. But it's also, they understand that not only are they putting themselves in jeopardy, but they're putting their family in jeopardy as well, because they have to go home and interact with their families. So it's a big deal what they're putting up with and what they're doing.
Well, and even the responsibility of having to decide who lives and who dies.
Exactly.
It's a really big one. You know what I mean? That's for the human soul. That is a big one.
Yeah. Hopefully, I know that that's happening in other parts of the world. We haven't gotten to that here. And that's why I'm hoping that people will really take heed to the secluding yourself. It's not just for you, it's for everybody. It's a collective caring for each other.
Yeah, I do feel that the responsibility with the self-quarantining, for me, it's not out of fear, you know, of the virus and fear of people. I've really looked at it in my own head that the reason I'm self-quarantining is how much I love the family of humanity.
Exactly.
And this is something I can do to support the well-being of others is literally stay at home, and that I have an incredible love for the earth. And I know that by all of us self-quarantining and businesses sort of taking a little bit of a siesta here for a moment, that it's also helping the earth. And so I just think of it in terms of, wow, this is like the most loving thing I can do. And so it keeps that tone of love flowing. You know? And also, if I take care of my health, it's the most loving thing I can do for the medical community.
You're right, Sharon. The world is going to be changed forever, and it is a good thing. And I love what you're talking about we can easily focus on our own health or the health of our loved ones, but the beauty of this whole thing is the strain that we're taking off of Mother Earth without all of the pollution. Everybody's driving around, using all the different resources. It's just really been a healing, I think a healing time period for Mother Earth for sure. And hopefully we'll be changing what we're doing in the way that we're thinking and acting every day after this. What do you feel like will be the impact of that in a long term?
Well, the other thing that, about the fear is that it's a fear consciousness that's being transmuted right now in all of us. And that's why I'm saying it's actually, I think, healthy and good to breathe into our fear, not to feed it per se, but to really acknowledge it. Because I would say underneath any one of our fears is really the core of our childhood fear, our unconscious fear, our lineage fear, maybe even a fear at the very core of the family of humanity itself. And so I think that really listening to the fear and going beneath what the topic of what you think it is and identifying at that deeper level is going to help you to be stronger. You're going to have a stronger immune system. You're going to have a stronger way of being. And, and so I think that when we, kind of trip out on the fear, the thing I would watch for the most is how we are using the fear because we're bored and we're sitting at home and we're watching the news. We're like, well, I got to have something to distract me from myself. And the ego will do that. It will find some kind of way to bring chaos in for most of us, right? That's one of the things our nervous system does. And so I'd also kind of look at breathing into the fear for the purpose of figuring out what is really the core level, but not getting so distracted with the fear in that collective cloud of energy that it's just one more distraction from your own inner presence. Whatever it is, and we could pick up a million different stories. So that's one thing about the fear.
Right.
But in terms of your question was, what is the impact going into the future? And with the work I do with the Ascended Masters and the angels, it looks perhaps a lot more balanced on the other side. There is, you could almost say on the inner levels, this is the situation is so interesting and maybe not necessarily unique, but unique in the terms of its major impact, that this is happening on multiple levels. So it's not just a physical virus. There's also a spiritual sort of thing going on the inner levels, where there is a major conscious shift, where you could say almost on one way that there is this great sort of battle going on a psychic astral level over power. And then you can see that in the governments. And then you can see that in, the effect the virus is happening. And then you can see the effect it's having on the earth. So there's actually multiple levels of things happening. Some people just go into all the spiritual conspiracy theories. And I'm not calling them that to not acknowledge them. I'm just, saying that there's a lot of different stories out there. And then if you turn into the news, a lot of different, stories and conspiracy theories there too. So when you kind of stay in your own centeredness, I think the best thing we could say about this ascension energy, like what if we just shifted our focus from a pandemic to an ascension, that we're in a major ascension right now of the earth shifting into something that it needed to shift into anyway. Right?
So when you said that, I have to stop you there because when we do energy, we pay attention to the energy. So when you said that, I'm feeling a glitch in the understanding of people understanding we are actually in an ascension energy versus a fear type of physical energy. Can you explain a little bit more, I think, about what that really is about?
So really, probably, if we were to look at it in a macrocosm point of view, perhaps the earth and the family of humanity, we've been evolving something over about the last 25,000 years. And that's not going to fall short. It's gonna pull through.
Right.
So whatever the goal of this 25,000 year of bringing, of raising the earth and the family of humanity into this more higher ascension level, that's going to happen. But sometimes in order to help something ascend, oftentimes universes are built out of chaos, and energy evolves sometimes out of chaos. It's not necessarily, it's serving its own purpose. So I don't even really like to say there's this necessarily battle going on. Some people do see it that way, but sometimes it's through the contrast that it is causing an awakening for us about our relationship to the earth and one another and countries and people that has never happened before. So
Right.
to me, I see a lot of this ascension energy coming in that really got kicked up probably towards the end of the year, right about the time the virus came in, and has been gathering momentum. It doesn't really feel like that momentum will be, the momentum of it is going to happen for a little bit here. And it's pushing things up and out that need to be cleaned up anyway, and as that, kind of works itself out, perhaps we're ascending into more of like a sense of oneness, a sense of higher love, a sense of greater peace, a 5D Lemuria, 1,000 years of peace, a golden age. We can call it a lot of things. Now, this is the big crux of it, though. Where do you want to be with it? You see what I mean? So you can either keep choosing the fear energy. Any of us can choose that, or denialism, or whatever we want to do. Or we can literally start envisioning the positivity of the earth. Like, I have never felt more of an opportunity right now that my voice mattered in the collective. Not because of YouTube or videos or clients, but literally my personal energy, because there's been like a break in everything. It woke something up in me personally where I don't feel like, I used to feel kind of hopeless that, well, the government is just doing what the government does, and the religious and spiritual and economical and school system and food system, it's so overwhelming. I just can hardly even stand it. You know what I mean? Now, all of a sudden, I feel like if I will just consciously choose a vision, a higher vision for myself and my life, and I imprint it upon the collective, I feel like we are literally recreating a new world as we speak. But you've got to put your voice out. It's like putting your vote out, putting your voice out. That, I think, to me, is the most important thing. And not to get too distracted by some of the other things, not to have be the compassionate witness, like in this case with the healthcare industry, because I agree, it's very interesting what they're going through.
Yeah, it is. And they've chosen to do it, which is a part of their path. But I love, and a lot of people are really resonating with what you're saying right now. I don't know, can you see the chat, the comments?
I think I'm in a different type of chat, but I'll switch it.
But yeah, a lot of people, I'm actually seeing both Facebook and reaching on our YouTube at the same time. And, it's funny because in the work that we do, we sometimes take this for granted, that we have connection to the ascended masters, the angels, to the other realm, I guess you can say. But we have that connection all the time, because Susan had asked, I can't tune into the vibration all the time, that she loves the idea. Maybe it's a muscle. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know you're going to say that better than I can about the way that we do that.
Well, I feel like the veil between worlds is getting so much thinner. And, I think as we're coming into this new earth, this new age, this new energy on the planet, the veil between our consciousness and the higher dimensional conscious is just getting thinner. So it should be easier to perceive that. And, one way that I would recommend doing that is just, it's really a matter of kind of quieting your mind. And that's where that energy being affected by the collective can sometimes override it. So just the rhythmic breathing, I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. And you watch that breath go up and down your spine will cause a centering. And when you're focused on the words, I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out, usually it takes 3 to 10 breaths and your whole system will start to relax. And it sort of stops all the thoughts and all the emotions, so that you can just get centered in your heart.
Right.
In your heart space, you can actually go from your heart, or it's like a room in the center of your head. Just imagine a room in the center of your head, and through your eyes, you can see all the thoughts and people and opinions and whatever flying by. But you're very quiet in the center of your head. And from that centeredness, either in your heart or your head, however you best listen, you can then call forth this energy. So what they're saying, there are some beings who have joined us now, and they're saying that every single one of us as a human being has an innate intelligence to this energy, has a connectedness to the innate intelligence of the universe. So we can be hearing it all the time. It's like if you were an indigenous person, you would hear the earth and the plants and the animals communicating to you. But when we live in a city, we lose that ability. We don't lose it forever. The minute you were to take one of us and put us back out there, we would start listening again at that level. It's just actually even part of our true nature and maybe even our survival, right? Well, it's the same right now as everybody's having to go inward and we're interrupting from our normal routine.
Right.
It's also helping us, if we'll take the time to go inward, it's allowing us to redevelop a skill of inner listening to the higher realms of light, tribes of light, councils of light that we normally are just too busy to hear.
Right.
You know?
And that's really important in what you're saying is, it's, you choose to do this. It's the quieting of your mind. It's the quieting of your soul to be able to go back and connect to the truth of what you already know. And if we can just stay in that quietness, which is sometimes hard to do, we like to run from that sometimes, but it's always there at our beckoning call. I mean, we always can tap into that. It's really, for me, when you were talking about it and knowing my process, it was changing my belief systems and I can or I can't. It's my belief systems of it's real or it's not. So a part of it is sitting in the quietness like you had talked about, but it's also paying attention to your belief system and what it is that the chatter or the beliefs that you have going on in your mind that will have that separation between connection and not. Would you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And, as we, as our worlds, maybe we're losing connection to some of the things that really haven't been working for us, but we're actually gaining connection to a more meaningful way of life, what's really valuable to us. I find that when I was 15, I had a near-death experience, and in that, it connected me to three things that are just what a lot of people with near-death experiences end up coming back with. One is love is all there is. The second is that we all make a difference here, that every single one of us have a purpose, a gift to give, a soul gift, right? And third is our time here is over before you know it. And it causes you to maybe value the moments that we have a little bit more, you know what I mean, with that. And I would say that right now, because the existential threat that the planet is under from this virus in terms of being a pandemic, of how many lives it takes. And so it's causing all of us, I would say, to have maybe the benefit of sort of sensing what it's like to have a near-death experience, because your life on that existential level is sort of being threatened right now, or at least you're told it's being threatened.
Exactly.
And it's, a catchy song right now that your life is threatened. So, that catchy song's having a big impact. And, so again, when you breathe in, am I actually in immediate danger? You might look around and realize no, but there is some part of your human nature that feels the existential threat of our entire humanity being threatened right now by this virus. And I find a lot of people are like, wow, the people I love is what's more important to me than the money I make in a day. Or, my kindness and generosity is more important than what I can take or, hoard or whatever. Or what do I really want to do with my life? Like, it's interrupting so much. Like, wow, what do I want to do with my life?
And this is a time to stop and pay attention to that, because you're right. What is really truly needing to come to the surface is what's going to be coming to the surface now if you could sit in that quietness and allow it to flow through you.
Yeah.
Because I even realized when we first started this talk, well, we did have problems and we tried to figure it out. So my energy was already up. But in the conversation that I had with my person this morning about really not caring about everybody, it really revved up that part of me that was more grounded into the humanness of myself instead of the bigger picture of the soul and the purpose for being here. And that's something we need to really be aware of.
Right. So let's go back to the medical community, because that was one of your interests. And right now, I mean, it is interesting. They are a part of us. They are one with us. And, we're all connected to that. And being the compassionate witness and sitting with them, why don't we just send them a blessing? Because I can't run into a hospital and do a whole lot right now. I just don't have the background in that necessarily. I don't have extra masks and extra things to give them. But what I can do is we can all come together and send really good energy globally. in a place where we would normally have soldiers out, defending the world from whatever. Right now we have the medical profession. And when you think about it, that is a major big shift from people with guns and knives and bombs and nuclear explosions to doctors who are actually, they call it the front lines, as if it's literally a medical thing.
Yes.
A military action. And they have sort of joined the military forces with it, right? The Coast Guard and not the Coast Guard, but the National Guard and all that, right?
Yeah.
So let's just think about it for a minute. Isn't that a very different way for humanity to fight a war, is with healers?
Yes.
Instead of guns.
I don't know if you all got the chills, but I did, because that's what's happening. Yes.
It's an evolution to our humanity. And I'm not saying maybe we could evolve even more to realize it's not a war at all. It's an evolution. But at least for our whole collective, it's a major big thing. And I also feel like, on some level, again, kind of looking at it from a higher point of view with the angels and the masters, that we inevitably had to make some changes. And human beings are very habit oriented. Like, we want what we want, and it's our habit, and we just live that way, right? So something had to interrupt it. And even though this virus is a great hardship, it is maybe a lesser hardship than a nuclear war. It's a lesser hardship than a lot of other ways that we as a humanity could have come about this shift, where we had to change some things for the well-being of the earth, to be able to move forward, and the well-being of maybe balancing some things out in the world that needed rebalancing. Whole power structures are having to reshift around this all over the world, not just one country, all countries.
Exactly. And I love what you said, Sharon, about the tarot readers and other energy healers. That's the one thing I have been really loving about what's happening, is it's stopping a lot of people, and a lot of people are doing healing work and loving kind of work, and encouraging, like with the tarot readings, about, we're going to get through this. So definitely, this is the thing that has been really bonding, I think, all of us together and giving us courage and hope, is to see everybody coming together as a global community and trying to send love and support to the universe and to Mother Earth.
Well, and you're more a choice. I do think that with people, when it comes to staying in, it can flip people out, particularly in the Western hemisphere, where freedom is sort of a natural thing that we can just go out whenever we want, right? And instead of the fear of losing your freedom and Big Brother and whatever else that you might project that onto, think of it like, if in our collective we were faced with having to make a major change in our way of being as a whole community around the world. And most of the time in our history, that has been, at least in our, recent time period, it's been through war that has brought people together. And right now we're at choice.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. If you don't want the virus, you're kind of at choice, in the sense that you just stay in. You don't have to say, like, for me, I'm just like, the virus has, because I don't like power struggles, and I don't think they serve us to go into resistance. And so I'm like, you know what? This virus has 100% permission to exist in this world, just not in my energy field. And I call in this cosmic flame of light to start, moving through my body and illuminating and creating like this force field that just makes me the authority of my own energy. Now, if this situation was different, like, let's say World War I, World War II, I don't know, whatever wars there's been, right? There was a lot of people who didn't have choice. There was bombs being dropped. They didn't have a choice. And right now, it is a choice. Some people may not feel like they have a choice, right? But technically, if you just chose to stay in, I don't see why you would get the virus.
Well, I think you go back to what you think you create. I mean, that either is true or it's not. We have control over the things that come into our life based on our.
If we do go outside and go do something, I mean, that would be true too, right? I mean, if it's
yeah. Now you're getting me in a rabbit hole.
Well, I didn't mean to do that. I was saying that I was agreeing with you that conscious-wise. I'm just saying that we do have a choice in this. We're not trapped. And the choice is, well, instead of going to war, we have this virus thing plaguing the whole planet, and we have a choice to stay in our own homes and not really be that bothered if we don't want, right? And then if we do go out, which is where I'm agreeing with you, is that we have, with our consciousness, you could go perhaps anywhere and still be perfectly fine if you're choosing it. Like there's a lot of doctors who are out there dealing with it multiple times a day, and something in their consciousness does not open up to it. They have a set mind, and I just think that's an absolute miracle. Like I have one of our people in our membership, her daughter has it. They flew to New York, came back, got exposed, and her daughter has it, but she's completely asymptomatic.
Yeah.
And she's got an incredibly strong faith in spirit. I really think it has more to do with she never really, she knew she did not want to have that experience before it even took off the ground. She was already.
And I'm so glad you said that, because really I battle with the mind over matter situation because of situations like this. But what I've been seeing is the same thing that you're saying, is that we're all going to have to, or we will be getting this virus at some point in time. And I love what Anna said about we need to look at the virus as not our enemy, because this virus is coming in and waking us up and showing us the weaknesses in our thinking and the way we live our lives and how we need to change. But I'm with you, is that I believe that if I get the virus or when I get the virus, it doesn't really matter to me one way or the other, that I will let it flow through me effortlessly, because I don't need the experience of going through being deathly ill. I don't need that experience.
A lot of people, I mean, there's no way that these doctors and this one person in membership haven't been exposed to it. They just have a different experience of it because of their mind, their faith, their choice about it. You know what I mean? And the more fear we have, the more powerless we feel, and low energy, like Sharon was saying, that's all true, So, I mean, we do have more choice about whether we stay in or whether we don't, how we experience it and not resist it. I've even imagined, okay, well, if I do get it, how would I handle it? And I do think about just surrendering in, not to the death of it, but surrendering into letting it pass through me with lots of water, lots of rest, some sunshine, and all the other things I do. I did see Greg Braden's video on the virus, and he was showing how the virus is coming in, and because of its little tentacle things, its little spikes, it's sending information into our cells.
That's interesting. I did not count.
Downloading our cells, the ones that it does attach to, not attack, but the cells that it attaches to, it is downloading information into these cells. That made me really think, wow. Because when we look at the next root race that's coming in, we're looking at the human beings not having to be wiped off the planet like all the other root races have been, but instead merging with AI, the technology field. A lot of these star beings that come in, a lot of that energy. It's not a bad thing; it's a good thing.
If you guys don't know, AI is artificial intelligence. I just need in case people don't know what AI is. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so, and that does scare a lot of people. Yeah. But when you think about it in terms of technology as sort of its own living energy that can actually help us have a better world.
Yes.
And I'm not a big proponent of giving your power away to it, but I do see that it could have some value to simplify some things in the world and to help. So when they merge together, I wondered if this particular virus also has been downloading information for that consciousness, that next evolution of what we're moving into as well. Like the virus may not be, I'm going to say it like this, the essential aspect of the virus could be serving its own purpose. Whether it's been tampered with or made into a designer virus, that's also a big thought that's out there that I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, because I've been getting the feeling tone, I've been getting hits about it being, it's like an upload. But I couldn't understand why. I missed Greg Braden's video, so I have to go back and watch that. But the bottom line is that nothing happens by accident. So however this virus got to where it's at, it wasn't by accident. It's for our evolving and our learning. It's for our growth, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so Anna is saying and even the connections that technology is aiding with this crisis. We are having to kind of really come up to par quite a bit on some stuff. So again, there are, I could really go off on the dark end. I like kind of walking the middle path. And as the middle path person, I can easily go off into the light and I can go off into the dark. And, you know, I'm going to come back into the middle. I think they all have value. It just is fine either way. I just prefer sort of staying on the middle path, right? So if we're watching this, you know, we could easily say that on one extreme, there's these dark energies out there fighting and going on, and maybe it's been created and where it's a genocide and it's all those things. On this end of the spectrum, the spiritual hierarchy has come forth and there's ascension energy coming in. And all we have to do is put our voice up to the heavens and recreate our life in this new way that our heart and souls always wanted, right? You know what I mean? So we get these two things going. Yeah. And, but when you start to come into the technology piece of it, it's inevitable that's going to happen. And this is sort of forcing all of us to come together in a different way. That, like you said, Joanne, is an upload of energy, and Anna as well. It's, something had to evolve us. And maybe this is the lesser harmful thing to evolve us than maybe what we could have done. I think it's actually a way better thing than what humanity is capable of and what we've done in the past.
I agree. Totally agree with that. And from this, I mean, just look at what people, I kind of wanted to upgrade my camera because I've had it for empty million years. I don't know why. This was the time I decided to do that. So I decided to just kind of look out there and see what was out there. Cameras are gone. You are not buying a camera to do live streaming because everybody's doing it, which to me, I thought was a really good thing because it's showing how we have this technology to still encourage each other, to uplift each other, to make each other laugh, to get through this together. And no other time in history has had this ability, which is great.
We're at a new precedence of energy. Absolutely. You know, and that's why I can really appreciate what Anna's saying about all of it. Like, we have old, outdated infrastructures in every single aspect of life. Our physical money is an outdated infrastructure. It's dirty. It carries viruses. It burns. People can make it. I don't know. You know, our infrastructure in medicine is outdated. Our infrastructure in, you know, politics and the way we handle things and people and sexuality. There's so many infrastructures of this world, cities, everything.
Yeah.
So this will be kind of cool. And we might, it's one of my visions when I go into the new world. Like, I did this class where you kind of project into the future, which I really like a lot. And they had projected out 100 years into the future. Two things happened. One was I was not in the world any longer. So I had to come to terms with, oh, wow, that's interesting. I'm not here anymore. You know, so I had to, that put me in a whole process, which has kind of helped me maybe even be more okay with where I'm at now, you know, have more acceptance about it. But second of all, when I looked at the world 100 years out, the technology was really very good. It was on a super high level, very streamlined. But because the technology was so well done, the earth, it took a lot of pressure off the earth because we didn't have to do things so manually like the industrial age, which was very harmful to the earth. Instead, it's like we had maybe more free energy, like all the Tesla concepts, right? Where Nikola Tesla, where, you know, there's all these cures that were released and there's all this free energy that was released. And so the earth itself looked really healthy and happy, and the animals that were here, there was more of a balance in the world. And one of those, you know, crux times, you know, where we're just going through a major big growing pain. Really.
Which I think we are, and we know that we're getting there. I mean, we're here to learn and evolve as a soul. So this is all a process of that happening. So being able to think about what can be in 100 years is phenomenal, really.
So let's do it. You said you want to do a meditation.
I do. Let's do it now.
I want to bless the medical community, and I also want to do the visual where we go into our future visioning self, because that's also going to help us hold a better vision as well. You know what I mean? And
so what I'm gonna do, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you have one more thing to say? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to at least block myself out and just let you have the screen so people can concentrate on you, but I'll still be here. So I'm going to give it over to you. And if you have questions, you can keep putting it in the chat. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take us into the meditation.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Now you can see my full mandala view behind me here. Okay. Yeah. And I got this. This is one of my favorite sounds in the world right now. So let's just clear the energy. And just feel it clearing our chakras, calling in the angels, that beautiful frequency of sound. Okay. And we just want to begin by following the natural rhythm of our breath, breathing in and out, centering yourself, letting go of the cares and concerns of your day and of the world. Breathing into the wisdom of the conscious heart. Opening up to the temple of the great central sun angels, who are my tribe of light I work with, the spiritual hierarchy, all the different ascended masters, angels, your tribes of light coming forth, and just feeling them all come in. Because on the inner levels, if you were to look at them, there's just so many layers. And so just breathing them in, opening up the living field of unconditional love between us, feeling all of our soul and higher self energies joining together for this higher cause, higher purpose. Opening up the quantum prayer field that holds all of us in this container of light. It amplifies our highest, best energies, wisdom, healing energy. It amplifies it. Sealing this quantum field in the miracle mantle, the mighty Elohim, seraphim, cherubim, our guardian angels, and our divine presence. In the all-consuming violet transmuting flame, ruby flames of divine peace, and the cosmic Christ flame divine grace. Noticing a portal of light beginning to open above your head, drawing us up with the beloved great central sun angels singing, toning, chanting the sacred names of your true self. As we rise higher and higher, soul traveling into the heart of the great central sun. Just feeling yourself arriving there at these beautiful golden doors just opening before us, invited in to where all these cosmic and galactic councils meet regularly, who are here in support of us and our highest soul's evolution. Being invited into this amphitheater style room, joined by the ascended host, the archangelic realms, all the different beings of light coming from this universe and other universes. Just feeling the amount of support that's there, that we are all unconditionally loved and accepted and valued, that we're actually participating in a phenomenal time on the planet, switching it from crisis into a phenomenal moment on the planet. And just notice what happens when you switch that in your own mind. Wow, I'm here at this phenomenal time on the planet where I can contribute my light, my wisdom. Maybe that's even one of the reasons I'm here at this point in time. And feeling valued by the universe. Coming into a one heart breath with the center of all creation. And feeling your own source energy pulsing through you like this cosmic light. And just feeling this cosmic light coming down your spine, down to the bottoms of your feet, all the way into the heart of the earth, blessing the earth, and then coming back up the front of your body, And then just spraying out like a fountain of light, holding you in this orb of cosmic energy. And just keeping that flow moving of this cosmic energy flowing all the way down your back to the heart of the planet, all the way up the front of your body, coming out the crown chakra like a fountain of golden, effervescent light, about the arm's length, and just enfolding you this beautiful orb of cosmic light. And now we want to amplify it. We want to turn down your analyzing mind. So it's like a volume. Just turn down the analyzer mind. Come into either the center of your head or the center of your heart, wherever feels best as a resting place. And we're going to now turn up the cosmic energy. And so I want you to notice it's starting to run now at 20%. It's sped up. And notice how it's speeding up the cells of your body, your health, your immune system, your chakras, moving stagnant energy, trapped emotions, outdated thought forms, clearing stuff out of your DNA, the space between your cells, any cellular toxicity. Amplifying it now to 50%, feeling that energy moving even faster, feeling stronger in your life force, your muscles, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings. And now we're going to amplify it all the way to 100%. Whoosh. Just feeling that energy moving through anything that's been going on for you. And it's just a blessing. It's just a really beautiful, easy frequency that's clearing stuff out. It's so healing, so helpful for you. Moving that energy. Okay, now in the center of our amphitheater style room, I want to call forth to all the healing professionals, all the healing practitioners on all levels, whether they be doctors and nurses in the medical community or alternative healers or prayer practitioners or people leading meditations or Reiki or Qigong or yoga. All the indigenous people who are also a part of this and just feeling that rush of energy, just like a chill moving through us as we're amplifying this cosmic light of its highest nature, its highest force, and we're sending them a direct blessing straight to their soul energy field. Just with an infinite love, adoration, and gratitude. Thank you so much. All healers, all medical professionals on the planet, blessing them at whatever level that they are operating at right now. Blessing them and their families and their loved ones and their pets, their homes, and whatever location they're working at. Calling in the violet transmuting flame angels, Saint Germain and the violet transmuting flame angels, calling in the angels of high magic, going forth and blessing them with all that they need. Actually, just totally transmuting any energy that is not serving them, that might be overwhelming them, and sending them this cosmic light. I know a lot of them are really depleted and overwhelmed, and instead giving them this boost, just as if you were standing behind them right now or in front of them, and just sending this supercharged cosmic energy to them on a soul level and through their spine and their nervous system and their brain, and their heart and emotions, and just cleansing and clearing their auric fields and their chakra system. Asking all negativity, fear, discord, human effluvia be instantly transmuted, sent into source energy or down into the heart of the earth and requalified, and just feeling their energy fields lighting up in this moment. And then asking their higher self to be plugged into this quantum field, to remind them that they can be plugged into this quantum field and into source energy, into the one heart breath with the heart of all creation and the universe. We're reminding their higher selves to remember to ground their energy and to plug in and to continue drawing this life force energy, this universal life force energy. We're also going to call into the Reiki energy. That's what I've been doing every day for this 2-week period. So we're going to call into the Asui Reiki and the Karuna Reiki and all these ancient Reiki masters that date back, way 10,000 years back into Tibet. These sutras of this Reiki energy just pulsing to them, pulsing to the earth, pulsing to any of the patients. And so now sending forth this healing light to any souls who have transitioned on, blessing them into their journey, allowing that to be an easy, effortless integration period for them to move into this light and to transform confusion into clarity for them. And then blessing any of the patients who are already in the medical, facilities or working with healers, or anybody who's going to be. And we're just sending out this cosmic ray of light now for their highest well-being. That it be a very graceful transition if that's what it's here for them, a very graceful healing if that's what it's there for them, and to be a very graceful, just symptomatic situation if they're a carrier but don't have anything. And so sending this cosmic light now, not only to all of the healers of the planet, on whatever profession they choose to do that in, alternative or allopathic, whatever, but also to all the patients, ones who maybe don't have the virus but need other service right now, other help. And calling in all the angelic kingdoms now. There's so many different types of angels, and they are just rushing in. They're just like knocking at the door, wanting to rush in. So within this cosmic frequency of light, we're now calling in to all of the angelic realms that can of service, because they just sit one octave around us. They just sit right there in that blue soul star chakra, the 8th chakra right above our head. They connect there. They come down through our heart, and they love rushing in to help. They are just there to bring people comfort, peace, healing, unconditional love, acceptance, wisdom, clarity, whatever is needed for all the medical profession and for all the people who need the help on any level, whether it's the virus or anything else. And just feeling this whole swirl of energy, calling into Archangel Raphael, calling in with the angels of healing, calling into the emissaries of light, the Ashtar command, the Arcturians, all the different star beings and planetary beings and that are coming forth, Pleiadians and Sirians, all these different beings who are coming forth with the angels. So you got this beautiful blending of these angelic star tribes that are coming in to support the earth and all living beings, all sentient life. Taking a deep breath, just letting that flow for a moment. It's a rush of energy. And now we're calling into the Ascended Masters, the angel star beings, and we're blessing all the animals on the planet, all the plants and animals who are also perhaps going through some transition with all this, supporting them. Calling into the star beings, the galactic councils, the planetary beings, blessing the AI, blessing the artificial intelligence, blessing the technology industries to upgrade the infrastructure of our entire world to more of a Tesla energy, to more of that Nikola Tesla, that frequency of this genius sequencing of medical cures and free energy and new technologies, and upgrading it all to this new world energy. And now envisioning your life just even 2 years out. Envisioning your life 2 years out. And I want you to notice any divine activity that you may be involved in, any form of creative action, any form of passionate heart desire. And notice, what would you most want to contribute to this planet? What would you most want to experience in your life? And it can be more than one thing. And it can be multidimensional. Like I have 3 things I always come back to. First and foremost is my own soul's evolution is to have a infinite bond with my own cosmic Christ presence. Above and beyond all else, that is one thing I want to harmonize in this lifetime. The second thing is a remarkable relationship. Somebody who I love deeply, a remarkable relationship. That's important for me. That's part of my soul blueprint. And the third is my service to the world. I know I'm here on purpose, feeling, valued by all of life. I love making my contribution in the work that I do. I feel very blessed that I'm already really on path with that. For some people, they're going to have to change it up and find some other professions and things that really lives in their heart. For some people, they're on path already and they're just going to elevate it. And so notice again what it is. It could be something personal of your soul's evolution, something that you just wanted to experience. For some people, it's having a child. For some people, it's a garden, and then noticing any service that you bring forth. Doesn't have to be a global service. It could be something that you're just of service, you know, to the nature kingdom or to just a few people in your life. And so allowing that energy just to start to envisioning in the world, and you're now just telling the collective consciousness, be still. Clearing the energy and watching it just be still, becoming quiet. And now take your vision in your heart, in your mind's eye, and I want you to send it out to the collective. Choose love over fear. And again, you're just sending that to that collective cloud, that collective consciousness. Sending your vision out to be made manifest. And then just watching your vision, watching the life that you have, the thing that's most valuable to you. And now I want us to go even 100 years out from this moment. So that's going to be, gosh, I'm really bad at math. I don't know how to say the year. I'm sorry, I got mathlexia. Okay, so go 100 years out, whatever year that is. And I want you to notice the difference your presence has made in the earth. Go 100 years out. Noticing what maybe the earth looks like 100 years out. Sending forth infinite love, adoration, and gratitude to your future self 100 years out and the difference that your light made on this planet. Infinite love and gratitude, infinite love and gratitude, adoration. This is the deaf sign for infinite love and gratitude. And sending that frequency out ahead of you, calling forth the angels of high magic, the violet transmuting flame angels, your guardian angel, your tribes of light, your I am presence, cosmic Christ presence, divine presence, to begin blessing this golden path, this middle path. Not one that you have to overextend your energy, not one where you're just not really doing anything. Find that middle path that's all yours. It's not an influence of other people. It's the thing that you came for as a soul. Before you even came onto this planet, you had something you wanted to contribute here and to receive here. Love that you wanted to share, gifts that you wanted to give and receive. And just feeling your heart getting bigger and bigger, being influenced now by this cosmic flame of light, again, charging back up to its 100%, and blessing your vision, blessing the difference that you're making on the planet, the goodness that you're bringing, knowing that all is well, everything's going to be okay. We're just evolving. And everybody has a right to have their experience of this evolution. Some people are going to suffer. Some people are going to die. Some people are going to be perfectly fine. Some people are on the front lines helping out. Some people are staying at home. Some people are coming up with really creative ways to improve their life or others' lives. We all have a right to any experience we want here, and that's okay. You know, and so noticing that we all deserve more and more unconditional love at all times, not less. And as this energy now is starting to wind down and start sealing this blessing and the ruby flame of divine peace, sealing this quantum prayer field with a blessing, not only in this moment for this call we're doing, but also for you and your future self and everything that this energy that we've called in is going to continue blessing you on into your life, moving you forward between here and, let's say, 100 years out. This blessing is staying with you. It's serving you and all the beings that we called in. And now just grounding this energy, imagining from your hips down, grounding into the center of the earth. And you might notice tree trunks taking you down to the center of the earth. You might notice a waterfall taking you down to the center of the earth. You might notice a ray of light taking you down to the center of the earth. But whatever feels most comfortable, ground down, ground through all your chakras, this cosmic frequency of light, blessing the earth, blessing the planet, blessing the collective consciousness and all sentient life, plants, animals, crystals, gemstones, all the elementals, the nature kingdom. Blessing your vision to be sealed in the mighty flames of victory, and so it is. Grounding that vision to the electronic grid of the planet, just feeling it connecting through this electronic grid and attracting in all the perfect resources you're going to need to fulfill your vision. What makes you most happy? What's most loving for you? We give thanks this is done, and so it is. And we're complete.
Thank you. That was amazing. And I want everybody to know this will be on Facebook and YouTube. So re-listen to it as many times as you care to. The more, the better. For me, I kind of had to be aware of what was going on here so I could totally get into it. But I totally love that going into the future. So really use that, you guys, to see tomorrow to a minute, from now, whatever will work for you. Come back and really listen to that, because that will bring peace and it will also help you. I kind of saw myself 100 years from now here. So I have some more work to do. No judgment on that one. Where
for some people who saw themselves in that class 100 years out, they had already been reborn and were back in again too.
Interesting.
Doing it from this consciousness that we've sort of, sort of put the seed in today, continue to grow even once they came back in.
But you could take me through a whole nother conversation. So we'll do that one later, because there's a lot to what you just said, which is amazing. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I know it's been a big help for me to work, I think, come back into grounding and be centered into what really is the truth. So stay in that, stay in the present as much as you can, and be okay with the fact that we're all going to be okay through this, that we're just evolving and it's not something to fear. So I will have all of your information if you want to look up Adrienne's Facebook page. It's My Wild Magic. Look her up there. It would be Adrienne at My Wild Magic. Is that what's your okay?
Adrienne at My Wild Magic. ADRIENNE.
So check her out. She's a fabulous worker, energy worker, healer. She's just a fabulous human being. That's my opinion. So check her out. And, I really want to thank everybody for this, taking the time to share with us, for asking all your questions, putting all your comments down, whatever your experience was also in the meditation that we just did, and the healing really that we just did, and the blessing that we sent to so many different people, but especially the medical profession. Put your comments in and let us know how that affected you. And we can chat with you about that as well. Tomorrow, I will be doing another live with Marsha Johnson. We're going to do some readings tomorrow. So tomorrow's a reading day. So check out that. It'll be around the same time. And everybody have a loving and peaceful day. So thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thanks.